Welcome back to Dom's Corner, everybody, for one last time. I am your host, Dom Martino, and we are going to talk about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Just rewatched this film today. Haven't seen it in a very, very long time. This will be the last of our Harry Potter reviews, obviously, and I'm stoked to talk about it. I have a lot of thoughts on it, a lot of things that I thought I liked better the first time I saw it that I didn't like as much this time, and then a lot of things that I really loved still and impacted me in a different way even. So that was a pretty cool experience to have today with it, and got to watch it glorious 4K as well today, which was also a really fun time. The way I recommend to watch the film. But hey guys, if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, and hit that bell for notifications. And of course, joining me on this final episode of Dom's Corner, of course, I have Mr. Adam Leach. Adam, how you doing today?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about Harry Potter for the last time. Sad face, but yeah, it should be a lot of fun. This movie has a lot. There's a lot to unpack here, so I'm pretty stoked. And also, of course, we have the Harry Potter expert, Miss Sammy Ramirez. Sammy, how you doing today?
I am doing very well today. I busted out the wand for our last episode. Yeah, really excited to talk about it. This is one of the greatest movies of all time. Period.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll discuss.
For sure. I also busted out the wand today. I have the Elder Wand right here, so
That's
pretty
nice.
exciting. Which, speaking of the Elder Wand, I mean, that's pretty much how the movie begins, right? I mean, well, first of all, let's go into the overall thoughts, I guess, and then we can, kind of segue into the deep dive that we typically do. All right, I'm going to start with my overall thoughts today. I typically don't, but I feel like since it is the final episode of Dom's Corner, I should probably, start here today. So, my overall thoughts on this movie is I still really freaking love it. I definitely had more issues with it than I remember. Not like a lot. They're very minor, but I do have a couple little gripes here and there. But for the most part, really enjoyed the film. Loved watching it again today. Just put me in a really good place. I was happy to complete the story that I had started last week, or actually that we technically started. 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. So it was pretty cool to get that all kind of finalized and wrapped up. But also made me sad in a lot of ways as well. I find that, I guess just to start with the negatives, I do find that some of these special effects, because I feel like they were trying to do a lot more for the time in this one, some of the special effects did pop off as a little bit dated. I don't know if that had to do with me watching the 4K release and I just noticed it a little bit more, but just here and there, just a minor gripe there, they did look a little bit dated. There was a couple, I actually, strangely enough, even though this is probably the fastest paced Harry Potter of all of them, I actually did find there to be a couple little pacing issues in this one as well. But for the most part, it was a really action-packed, wonderful time. Shortest Harry Potter film in the series. I kind of, right now, I mean, I'm going to rank it right under 3. Not gonna lie to you. So I mean, I'm going Deathly Hallows Part 1 is my favorite, Order of the Phoenix is my second favorite, Azkaban is my third favorite, and then this one's going right under Azkaban, Half-Blood Prince under that, Sorcerer's Stone under that, Goblet of Fire under that, and then Chamber of Secrets at the very bottom is where I'm going with this. So that's my overall ranking so far, but did have a blast with it for sure. Happy to talk about it here today. I'll get into more of my gripes and positives and stuff like that in the deep dive, but this movie is one hell of an epic time. I mean, for sure. Adam, we will go to you next. What were your overall thoughts rewatching the film today?
I love watching this movie, first of all. This is the one I look forward to watching the most because, you get a resolution, you get a lot of tying off some character arcs, and
Yep.
it has the most nostalgia to me because it meant the most to me because, it was the dramatic conclusion. I went to the first showing of this with all my friends and my family, and we went to the midnight showing, and it just had a freaking blast. I remember how excited everybody was. So I will agree with you, Dom. I think this movie does have some issues. I don't think it's perfect. I would make two different lists for which movies I think are the best movies and which movies I like the most. And they would be completely different. For instance, which movies I like the most, this might have the top spot. Which movies are the best, this does not have the top spot.
Right.
The best movie is Deathly Hallows Part 1, hands down.
Yeah,
The second
I
best
agree.
to me is Order of the Phoenix, hands down. And that I'd have to do some debating about what is the best made movie after that. But I do think there is a lot of action in this movie, which is a good thing. But at the same time, I miss the space that we got in Part 1.
I felt the same.
I miss the slow burn, the slow building of the story, and the more complex dialogue. And I miss all the stuff that we got in the Part 1. But we did get some hitch in the face action in place of it, which is cool. The beginning of this movie to me, for some reason, the beginning to me feels the weirdest, because I feel I'm gonna throw that cat out the window. She's making all kinds of noise.
I was gonna tell you, he was kind of showing he was showing some sunlight there behind the curtain earlier, just to give you a heads up. Anyway, do you, bud? Go ahead.
Yeah, the first part of the movie to me, it almost feels like it picks up where we left off, obviously, but it almost feels like we're rushed back in, and we kind of get to stuff a little too quickly. There's a couple moments in the first couple scenes where they almost do sort of like a fade out or a wipe sort of action, which feels really bizarre to me because I don't feel like I'm used to seeing it in Harry Potter. It almost gives me the illusion that, well, we didn't have enough time, so we're just going to fade out and just pretend that this is somewhere else at a different period in the timeline. And it had that sort of feel. Other than that, this movie has some of my favorite moments.
For sure.
It has my absolute favorite moment, which would be tying up Snape's character arc, which to me ties up the entire series. To me, the series obviously would be worth watching without his character arc, but I could raise an argument for it not being worth watching. I genuinely think his character ties this entire story together, and
he does in a lot of ways.
The whole series would have felt completely different if we did not get the twist with Snape at the end. To me, that single moment elevated the story so high, and for that reason, and almost that reason alone, this is my favorite movie to watch.
I can understand that for sure. For me, it is still, I put Deathly Hallows Part 1 at the top in terms of my favorite to watch and what I think is the most well-made. I think it kind of is equal there. I think that, like you were saying, that had this, like, really kind of fleshed out nature to it, where it was, like, it was paced a lot better, for sure.
Cinema.
It was. It did feel like cinema, and it was wonderful to watch in that sense. But yeah, I can understand why this is your favorite one to watch as well, because it also includes my favorite moment in the entire franchise, which is Harry and Voldemort right there at the end going at it. It's my favorite moment in the entire franchise. It's epic. It's amazing. So I get it, for sure, but I could not rank this at number 1, unfortunately. But Sammy, you rewatched it, and how do you feel about it now?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll start with I also saw this. I saw it by myself actually at midnight, the day it came out, and I just remember like that the hype in that theater was absolutely unreal. Like I will never forget it in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I've just always absolutely loved this movie. It's cinema. Like I'll throw out there it has one of my, when you guys are saying your favorite scenes in the whole saga. Because this one also has one of mine, which is actually the scene where Voldemort and all the Death Eaters come up to Hogwarts and is given that whole Harry Potter is dead speech.
Yeah.
That is that whole scene is one of my favorites in the entire series. It's the most epic, wonderful scene of all time. I love it so much. And yeah, I just echo everything you guys said. Again, I get so hyped to watch this one. I never watched this movie and not just feel every single beat totally and completely every single time. I do have my ranking though is a bit different. So I still have Prisoner of Azkaban at number one. It's just my personal favorite, and I think it's in the top three at least of most well made. I think Deathly Hallows might be a little bit more well made, but then I go Prisoner of Azkaban, I think right under it in my opinion. And then Deathly Hallows Part 1, and then Deathly Hallows Part 2, and then Half Blood Prince, and then Order of the Phoenix, Chamber of Secrets, Sorcerer's Stone, Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
My official ranking. Yeah. But I mean, I took notes for this movie. There's so many, every single scene in this movie, there's so many, it's just huge, meaningful scene after another until the end that it's such a roll. I do get what you guys mean though about how it does kind of rush at the beginning, because I also definitely feel that as well, especially with a lot of the Gringotts stuff. It just kind of feels like, oh, okay, we're going and we don't have much time to breathe, versus the first movie just having all the time to breathe.
Yeah.
So I do get that criticism, but everything else I just am obsessed with, honestly.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's really, really phenomenal flick. It really is. And it's a phenomenal finale is what it is. You know, like I almost like think when I watch this movie, I think back to some of my like favorite television finales, you know, because this does like fall in line with those very well. But diving into it, we start out, you know, we get that, you know, scene from the end of Deathly Hallows Part 1 with, you know, where Voldemort's taking the Elder Wand. It's just, there's something interesting about the beginning of the movie where it's like, it almost does feel like you see when you watch the film, it's weird. When you watch the movie, you understand that it is a continuation of Deathly Hallows Part 1. But when it starts out, it almost feels like it's packaged into a whole new film. You know what I mean? Which it is. But I guess I didn't necessarily want it to feel that way, you know, like I wanted it to feel more like we're gonna start right from where we left off, which is
it feels paraphrased.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, for sure. I get that. That's a good way to put it. Paraphrased, it definitely does for whatever reason, but whatever. I mean, we get that shot of Hogwarts where the Dementors are all like in front of it. I thought that was like one of the most gorgeous looking shots in the entire franchise. I thought that was really cool.
And then we zoom in on Snape because this is all about Snape.
Yeah. Yep. Little did the non-book readers know going into it, of course, but you know that he was going to play such an integral piece. You know, he was going to be such an integral piece of it. But it was kind of a cool little shot to start on. Excuse me. And then, you know, then we go into like what I feel like is more of a, you know, the continuation piece of it, where it's Harry, you know, sitting in front of Dobby's grave. And then, you know, he gets up, goes back into Bill Weasley's house. He goes and he talks to, he says he has to talk to the Goblin. He goes, talks to the Goblin. Not played by Vern Troyer this time, folks. You know, but either way, this guy who played the Goblin did a good job with it. You know, they, what's the Goblin's name again? It's, Griphook, right. So Griphook, he's talking to Griphook and they're having this conversation. He wants to really, you know, about, you know, the dyad that's in Bellatrix's, you know, vault, and they're kind of figuring that stuff out. Then they kind of move into a conversation with Ollivander, which I believe this is the same actor. He just looks like about 100 years older than he did in the first film, but you know, they
I think you're right.
yeah, I'm pretty sure, because it looks just like the guy. It just, he looks a lot older, but they're having this conversation about, you know, Harry basically calls him out on his shit, like, you know, you told him, you know what I mean, and he, you know, where the wand would be, and you know, I do like that. I like the dialogue that's going on where Harry says, you know, where he quickly stops him. He's like, he does have it, you know. I thought that was just really good stuff. And Ollivander kind of stopping Harry on his way out of the room, being like, you know, well, if he has it, then you really don't stand a chance. He's like, I guess we'll have to kill him before he finds us. I just really like that dialogue. because
real quick, that line always just reminds me of the part in Chamber of Secrets when Lucius Malfoy is like, "Well, I hope Harry Potter will always be here to save the day," and he goes, "Don't worry, I will."
yeah, it kind of does.
Like
yeah,
it gives me the same vibes.
yeah, definitely
It's like
calls.
poetry.
I like
It
how-
rhymes.
I like how in that scene, Harry could have just walked into it and led with the fact that he knew, but he like let the guy lie and play it out. It's almost like when you're a kid and somebody catches you stealing or something,
Yeah.
or they think you steal, and they make you tell your side of the story and they let you lie, and then they're like, "Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the footage of you." It's like, well, why didn't you lead with that? Why'd you let me lie?
Right. That's literally what that is.
Exactly. No, it is pretty funny. For sure. No, I agree with it. So then, we move in pretty quick going into the Gringotts Bank. We obviously see Hermione as Bellatrix Lestrange. I don't know what it is. I think that this is one of the worst. I love Helena Bonham Carter, but I think it's one of the worst, performances by somebody trying to play the polyjuiced up version of another character. You know what I mean? It's
really.
I do not like the way that Helena Bonham
No,
Carter
I don't know what you
this.
mean. I thought it was perfect.
Really? Okay.
I didn't.
I thought
really
she
have
played
any
Hermione
problems with it.
perfectly.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, that's Hermione as Bellatrix Lestrange. I fully believe that.
Oops, sorry. No, I was, more actually impressed, strangely, with Emma Watson's voice work than I was trying to, act like Bellatrix than I was with the actual portrayal that Helena Bonham Carter was playing there as the Hermione being Bellatrix. I thought it was the worst version of that we've had so far. They've all been great so far. That's why, except for the Mad Eye Moody one, which we have inconsistencies there, obviously. But that aside, I just thought that this was the worst looking one. I didn't think Helena Bonham Carter actually did a very good job here. It almost felt like, I don't know,
I thought it was okay because I feel like Hermione is kind of a tomboy, and she's walking in heels and she's playing this very mean person, and Hermione is more of a tomboy, smart, quiet, reserved, respectful type. So I feel like the body language made sense because she didn't feel comfortable in that body. She obviously didn't feel comfortable wearing heels because she doesn't wear them very often.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I didn't really find any issues with that personally, but
fair enough. I don't think I've ever had issues with it in the past until today. I watched it and I was like, why does that rub me the wrong? It just didn't work. I don't know why. But, then we go into, first thing we're walking through Nocturne Alley. And, they're talking about, Griphook's basically you can't just say good morning, which I thought was good. That was good stuff. That was really good dialogue going on there. But yeah, when we got into Gringotts, I just started having problems all of a sudden with that. And, I like the scene and everything. I think it's shot well and it's acted well as far as the voice, or Hermione's voice acting, Emma Watson's voice acting, and Harry and Ron and everything they're doing comes off really, really great and strong. And then we, they had to, I like the little close up shot of Ron where it's you almost have space over to the right of him. And you know that Harry's standing right there in that moment, because they left that space open just because of the way they kind of did that close up shot on Ron. It was pretty good. And then he's like, what do we do? They're not going to let her through, and Harry goes and very sneaky and casts that spell. So I'm sure Sammy knows the spell that it was. I can't remember.
I have a question.
Sure.
It was Imperio. I do know.
Imperial. Okay. Yes.
They had Bellatrix's wand, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
Yes.
They asked for her wand as form of identification, and I just am sitting here wondering, you have the wand. That's what they want as identification. You have the wand. Who else would have her wand? So if you have it, show them. If anything, use it. That might even convince them further.
Did they bring it with
Bellatrix is kind of a...
Did they bring it with
like,
them though? Did they bring it with them to?
You have to assume they
Why wouldn't
did.
they?
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
With that massive never-ending purse that Hermione carries.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
The best
she's got
purse
every
of all
Yeah.
she's
time.
got everything in there but an In-N-Out burger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they probably didn't think to, like, I don't know. Maybe they didn't know that could be used as identification. I don't know. I'm not trying to defend it. It is strange that they just didn't, give it up to them, but it's very odd indeed, especially since they did have it. It was a good point there to bring up. But I was kind of thinking about that too, Adam, when I was watching it. But I was just in my mind, I was like, well, maybe they didn't bring it with them when they apparated over there. I don't know.
I didn't think about it until the guy specifically asked for her wand.
Right,
And then I
yeah.
was like, they have
it,
the
though.
wand.
Yeah. Yeah, it was strange.
Oh.
No, for sure.
Yeah, maybe they just thought like they would take it away or something. They would, not have
Maybe.
it back. But use Expelliarmus. You can get it back very easily.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe
So,
they didn't want to
that
risk.
always bugged me too.
They
I
didn't
noticed
want to.
that as well.
They might not have wanted to risk them taking it. That's true. I mean, that's a possibility. Either way, we're going down to Gringotts. Boy, has Gringotts changed. I mean, it doesn't look like the Gringotts in the first one. The top floor does when they're going through with the goblins. That looks similar, but like when we're going down into the vaults and stuff, that looks quite different in my opinion. But okay, it was, I don't know. I think it was because it was like so CGI'd, and like obviously the first one had it all like
I
practical.
think they also like went to lower levels too.
That's true.
Like I think where Bellatrix vault is like deeper
Yeah.
down into the dungeons
That's
than
true.
where Harry's vault was.
Yeah.
I wanna
Yeah,
say.
they really didn't even try to build an organized system of vaults. They were like,
Chaos.
Cave?
Yeah.
Everybody gets their own cave?
Yeah. It's not necessarily a gripe. It's just that the first film, it felt so much more practical. You know what I mean? I don't know. But it didn't really feel like it. But it's not a gripe necessarily because the directors have changed shit all the time to fit, however they want to tell the story. And I get that. But they, either way, they're down there in Gringotts. I think the freaking, what is it? It's a dragon, right? But it's like a certain type of dragon. Sammy, help me out.
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
Fair
I
enough.
don't know actually.
Okay, so but the dragon looked cool. I thought the dragon looked awesome. That was one of the things that held up very well. He looked great. So they're going past the dragon. They're basically showing they basically have to do these shake weighty thingies to put him to sleep. And so when they go
They do
into
look like shake weights. Ew. It's like a
I didn't even think about that. They're just walking
You're right.
around.
yeah, so they have to do the shake weighty things, and then they're going into the they get into Bellatrix's vault. Everything they touch in there is gonna multiply. I like the way that like played. It looked really cool. They were walking through there, and I like how they
the
kind
sound
of
design as well. Like
yeah,
A+
it was
in this scene.
great. That stuff
Yeah.
was all awesome. Either way that I don't even know how they like did this like on a practical level, because like the stuff multiplying, they had to have like a ramp that like Daniel Radcliffe like walked up,
Who
right?
could climb up. Right?
Yeah, and then like they probably mocapped over the ramp or something. Like I don't even know how you do that. But it was cool. It was cool. And then he goes up there, uses the sword to get down the what they call that stupid thing.
The what?
The Horcrux. It's a Horcrux, but what?
Oh
it
yes,
was,
it's the cup.
the cup.
It's Helga. It's Helga Hufflepuff's cup.
Helga Hufflepuff's cup. Thank you.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, but they get the cup down and it kind of gets lost in the scramble, and the goblin's like, the goblin Griphook. Sorry, I forget names in these things all the time.
Promised I'd get you in.
Yeah,
Suddenly
right.
getting
Never
you
said
out.
I get you out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, they he fucks them over essentially, and then they got to go out there. They basically they unleash the dragon. The dragon kills the shake weight people, and so then they escape on the dragon. And I like that stuff. Again, this is some of the stuff I thought it played incredibly well. When then they go flying off. First of all, how do they know to go to Hogwarts? Like, how do they know to direct the dragon to Hogwarts? Like, how does that work? Is that like a spell or?
It's not. They don't go to Hogwarts. It's still just like a place because they apparate
Don't
into
they
what is it,
fall into
Hogsmeade.
but
And
they
then
fall into
that's
the
where-
lake that's outside Hogwarts.
They fall
isn't
into
it?
a lake.
It's not that one.
I don't think that's the
Yeah, because
lake.
they don't decide to
Yeah.
go to Hogwarts until they're getting dry and they have
There's
a
a whole
conversation.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. I felt like for whatever
So
reason.
they definitely apparate.
Oh,
to there.
okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They apparate to Hogsmeade. You're
Yeah,
correct.
they just fall right in front of
Yeah.
Hogwarts,
That's
and
what
they're
I
like,
was
"Hey, we
thinking in
should
my
walk
head.
in."
See, in my head that's how it was playing out, and then they like walked over to Hogsmeade from there. So
But
that's
yeah,
what I was thinking.
because
Yeah.
because they came from Gringotts, which is in London, and then it would have had to go all the way
Sure.
to Hogwarts, which is like near Scotland. You have to take a whole train to get there
Yeah.
from London.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was the one that was in front of Hogwarts for whatever reason. And
No, fair. It's a lake.
okay.
It is a lake.
If you took it, okay, great. I'm glad you guys took it that way because, like, for me, it was
All
like
lakes are the same.
for me, it was like they land
All
in
lakes
front of
matter, okay?
they land in front of Hogwarts. Then they have a conversation about going to Hogwarts, and I'm thinking, like, you mean the place that's like right up there? Because if you look at the lake, it looks just like the one, but whatever.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
swore it was the one, and then
I
that's
see
how
where
they,
that connection could be made.
because they
Like,
went to
I see you.
Hogsmeade right after, so I was like, they probably just walked to Hogsmeade, But yeah, I don't know,
Right.
whatever. But either way, we get to Hogsmeade, and this is where we meet Aberforth, which is cool, and we kind of solve the mystery of the mirror, so to speak, of the piece of the mirror, which I like that effect, like how they played that on the screen. I thought it looked really cool. Then they meet Aberforth. I do like when Aberforth places out the food. And then like they all just like rush over to it.
Gouge
Makes
for
a lot
it,
of sense,
yeah.
but it played kind of funny to me. So then they he's talking about my basically Aberforth's like, my brother didn't tell you shit, boy. He's like so don't go fighting in a war, but either way, Harry talks him into it. And then we learn about, what's the sister's name? Help me out here, Sammy.
Ariana.
Right. So she's in the photo. I love Hermione's line about that doesn't sound like someone who's given up. I thought that was a really nice little piece there. Opens up the photo. Neville comes walking out, and then he starts talking about the what was the Carrows.
Carrows,
right, who basically kicked his ass. So they're walking through the passage, and then they get into Hogwarts, and then we get the classic John Williams Harry's Wondrous World score, callback, which I loved hearing. They're down there in the common room.
Score is fire in this movie.
It is fire. Alexandra Desplat did a really good job. Did a good job.
This is the best score.
I can give you that. The score wise,
This is the best Harry Potter score. Other than of course Sorcerer's Stone.
Right, because I was
Sorcerer's
going to
Stone may
say
be the only one who can rival it.
John
But
Williams
otherwise,
classics were
Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Yeah. No, I'll give you that
Right.
though.
I mean,
yeah.
they're classics. They influenced everything else, so you can't discredit.
This is
Sorcerer's Stone.
definitely at least the best one in a while. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Adam, we'll start with you. Is there anything you want to add about the stuff that we've gone over here so far? I mean, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, not really. Just what I said about the beginning of the movie still stands. I feel like really the first half of this movie has more points where I feel like I'm like, slow down, like tease me a little, like let's just not jump straight into this. Like we need a little movie foreplay.
Right. Yeah.
And then like we talked about the very beginning of the movie where it picks up where the last one left off, but they do those weird like screen dissolves and it almost feels paraphrased. Where in my mind, what I wanted to happen was I wanted it to literally replay the scene that we saw at the last movie where Voldemort sticks the wand into the air, and I really wanted to see what he did next. And I wanted it to go organically straight from him, and I wanted a slower story. Really, ultimately, what I wanted from this movie was a 3-hour movie. and I didn't get that, but that's really what I
Right.
wanted. If I could redo it, I think this would be hands down the best movie if they would have given this more time to breathe, if we would have had a lot slower, more organic story building elements. So the beginning is where I feel that.
I get
Now, you know, we'll get into the stuff later. It really accelerates. But anyway,
sure.
other than that, I was gonna ask, I don't think I actually read this whole book, so I don't remember the story behind this book. But how much information do we get on Dumbledore's past?
That's a Sammy question for sure.
Yeah, fairly a lot.
Yeah.
A really good decent amount.
Okay.
I mean, so we know about his childhood, that they grew up, him and his he was the oldest, and then Aberforth, and then Ariana. And Ariana had like a moment where her magic burst, and it was in front of 3 muggles, so that's why her father then killed those 3 muggles. And so they move then to Godric's Hollow, which then they grow up, and Dumbledore starts learning about the Deathly Hallows and thinking about Horcruxes and just how much power he can get, because he's like always been naturally talented.
Mm-hmm.
When he goes to Hogwarts, he's like head of his class, just everybody is blown away by him. And then Grindelwald then moves in to Godric's Hollow. They become best friends. They start looking for the Deathly Hallows and start wanting power, until then there is a fight in the Dumbledore house between Dumbledore, Grindelwald, and Aberforth, in which Ariana then dies, and they never say who threw the curse. They really don't know between the 3 of them. It was just curses everywhere. We don't know which one killed Ariana.
Yeah.
But of course then Dumbledore always blamed himself for that. So did Aberforth, which is then when Dumbledore and Grindelwald decided or when Dumbledore was really like, all right, this is dark arts. I can't be messing with this. People are going to die. Yeah. So that we know about that much. And then after that is when and then we have some time, and then he became a professor, became the greatest wizard of all time. And then we do know that he then met Grindelwald again and fought for the Elder Wand, in which obviously Dumbledore won. And Grindelwald then got thrown into Azkaban, where he remains today. That's the abridged version of how much the books really tell us.
Okay.
Right.
I'm pretty spotty on the books, because even the ones that I did read, I read a long time ago, so I'm pretty spotty on the story. So I found myself wanting to know, for some reason this time I watched it, I was like, I really want to know more about what happens with Dumbledore's story. Specifically, I'd really like to go really deep into, like in movie form, like him trying to find the things in the Deathly Hallows, like finding the Resurrection Stone and stuff like that. Because I started thinking about that because later in the movie, when he, obviously he gives the Resurrection Stone to Harry, I started thinking about that. Like, wow, he's had this whole time. Like, he's got all the stuff. He's just been sitting on it. Like, I would love to have like a series or something that really goes into the story behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a really cool fan film. I'll just send
and he
it to
does say
y'all
later
sometime.
on
real quick here. I was just gonna say there's a cool fan film online that I'll send to y'all where it basically depicts the Ariana death, that whole thing that went down. It's pretty cool. I'll send it to y'all sometime. What were we gonna say, Sammy?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so it is then mentioned also in the book, where we'll talk about it later in the movie, but when him and Harry are in like the space in between after Harry dies, where Dumbledore says like he realized that he could never be trusted with that much power, and that's why he kind of sat on all of the Deathly Hallows, and he knew about all this stuff but never used it, because he was like, I can't be trusted with it. I just know that about myself, so I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
It takes an incredible amount of wisdom and self-restraint to come to that conclusion, because like
Daddy Dumbledore, baby.
I know that his brother obviously has feelings towards him, and is like you don't know the stuff that my brother sacrificed to get power, and his brother feels some type of a way. But really, at the end of the day, Dumbledore really had to have an incredible amount of intelligence and self-restraint for him to actually, for one, to get them in the first place. He's obviously very powerful, but then to have them and decide not to act with them like decide to just kind of sit on them. Like that takes a very special type of person, somebody with a higher type of intelligence and restraint than 99% of people in the world. So I just think that's really interesting. I think that alone, regardless of what happened with him and his sister and what he did to get that power, I think it shows the true nature of his character, the fact that once he did have them, he didn't decide to use them for something terribly evil.
for sure he didn't. But
Yeah.
Anyway, Sammy, I know you took some notes. Was there anything you wanted to say leading into the Hogwarts stuff?
No, I mean, just picking back on what we've already been talking about that, because I did write down the quote where Aberforth says that my brother sacrificed many things in his journey to find power, including Ariana.
Yeah.
And that he gave her everything except time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so fascinating that this man literally went from like wanting power so bad that he was willing to do whatever it was for it, and then just tragedy after tragedy and like growing up moment after another to then come to the conclusion in the later years of his life that he doesn't not deserve it, but he can't have it. He can't be trusted with it. Even though he wants it, he can't have it.
Right.
And that's the most fascinating thing ever. And then also I get emotional every time when Harry comes in and the music starts and all the Hogwarts kids applaud for him.
Yeah, it's great.
It's like we're in Hogwarts, we're here, we're all together. It's beautiful.
I love the the line here where he's talking about he starts talking to them about he's looking for the what is it, the diadem. And he's like, they're like, where is it? And he's like, we don't know. We don't know that either.
Right. Like we're looking for something. Where is it? We don't know. What is it?
He's like,
we don't know.
I know that's not a lot to go on, Seamus. That's nothing to go on. I like that stuff. But, I thought the humor there with Ginny, going to say hi to Harry, not Ron, was kind of funny, and him getting a little upset about that. That was pretty funny too.
Still feels weird.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Man, their kiss. We'll get to it, but their kiss in this movie is the worst thing on this planet.
Awful.
I hate it. Every time we get to it, I just cringe. Like I hate it.
Their relationship feels especially weird in this movie because we obviously see them in the end as grown-ups, married and with a kid.
Right.
And we literally see them together like twice the whole movie. And before this, we've only seen them together a couple times. It's just so bizarre.
For sure. But yeah, we they basically call that meeting in the Great Hall. All the students are standing there. I love the scene when Snape's just sitting there like give him up. We've heard he's in the castle, and Harry actually comes out himself. I love how it's executed. It's so amazing. And then he says that it is super. It's definitely
badass.
And just
the most
telling Snape off. How dare you stand where you stood. I just thought that stuff was awesome. And then McGonagall comes in and they go at it, and it's like, holy shit, this is like everything we've been waiting for. It's great. And Snape flies out the window, and I know it sounds funny when you say that out loud, but he does. But
you can tell that was like pent up emotion from McGonagall. Like McGonagall's been holding this attack in for a very long time, and now it's her time, and she's just going for it.
I do like.
When we were watching that, Megan was like, that's a bad witch. Like, nice. I see what you did there. That's a bad bitch.
Good stuff. That's a good line.
But we love a bad witch.
Yes, for sure. No, but I like that upon, further reflection of the moment, Snape's not actually attacking McGonagall. He's just deflecting her spells when you watch it. And that's the whole reason he does just kind of go out, it's just like, I'm cornered. I don't want to hurt her, but, I want to, make this look like an actual
probably
surrender.
Could too.
He probably could have. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. And he didn't, upon further reflection, when you look back, he's all he's doing is deflecting the entire time, which I like. I like the detail.
And can't we all agree that this is exactly how we all envisioned a Snape ran Hogwarts?
For sure.
It to a T, like, and no smiling. Everybody's silent. They obey orders. There are no lights on.
No lights.
Absolutely no lights.
We're standing. You can't sit. We are standing. We are standing in rows, and that is it.
Yeah.
Lord help you if I find out anybody has a tan.
Yeah.
Everybody's pale.
Exactly.
I love that the first thing McGonagall does too is turn the lights on. Like that's her first initiative of being back. It's great. But you know, the other thing that you know, I wanted to mention too is but this is basically the reunion of all the big characters in this moment too, because you know, Harry's whole line about seems you have a security problem there, Professor. I love that line too. And they, you know, we see like pretty much everybody and their grandmother enter the Great Hall, like literally everybody and their grandmother. So they so it's a really big moment, and I like, you know, McGonagall going up to Harry, what do you need? And he's like, time, Professor, as much as you can get me. And I like as he's walking away, she just has to say, she's like, it's good to see you. You know, I love that. It was a really great exchange there. And then you know, they're walking out, and then we move it over to McGonagall. McGonagall has like some of the best moments in this whole movie, by the way. I love everything with her. Her, you know, pulling down the knights to come, you know, defend the castle, her whole thing, and she's like, I always wanted to use that spell, that was great. Her telling Neville to go blow up the bridge. I love the Neville, you blow it up, boom, and she goes boom. I love that. It's so great. Makes me laugh every time. And she's like, why don't you ask Mr. Finnegan? He has a knack for pyrotechnics, which we have seen throughout the series for sure. He definitely knows how to blow shit up.
Perfect way to do that.
Yeah.
That is again such a throwaway thing that is always Seamus is just always blowing things up. So it's just great. Like in the final battle, he gets to help.
I know he has.
It's so good.
He has a place in the story. Like I feel like a lot of characters that we didn't think would have a place in this story end up having a big place in this story, and I'm glad that Neville finally in this film, and we'll get to some of them later, but he gets his big moments in this movie finally, and it's so great.
By the way, we missed one of the final funny Filch moments.
That's in my notes as well.
When he runs in, students out of bed.
Students out of bed, you idiot. You literally idiot.
Yeah.
We haven't got a funny Filch moment in a while, so this one feels particularly hilarious.
It's true. It's true, because she's like, they're supposed to be out of bed, and he goes, oh. Like, it was great. Oh my gosh.
So good.
This guy's whole life. I mean, for real.
His whole life is just like, are students in bed or are they not?
Yeah, really.
Where are the students?
He's got to have his own HBO series.
Really,
that's who should have their own HBO series.
It just follows him around as he fixes stuff in Hogwarts and yells at people. There's like no real plot line. They're just like quick, like 30-minute episodes. For real. It's a fairly quick show.
They should make that happen for sure. But yeah, you're right. We did miss that, and that was a really great moment. I laughed myself when I saw that.
It was in my notes.
Yeah, I love his whole motivation for living. I just think it's hilarious.
The reason he's alive.
Really, though.
The only reason. He would be nothing without subordinate students.
Job.
Yeah. For sure.
It's like Batman and the Joker. It's like they need each other.
Yeah,
they can never destroy each other.
They almost do.
Filch can't be too harsh because like he needs them.
Yeah, for sure. So you know, I like all the students running around Hogwarts. I like the sense of urgency that we're getting. I know that you guys aren't particularly fond of the Harry Ginny kiss. This is the one I like because it kind of just happens in spur of the moment, and I'm like, it adds to the urgency I feel like that's going on in the moment. So that one I do like for that reason, but I do understand the chemistry problem there, for sure.
It's the execution and the chemistry because
Yeah.
they go in particularly hard, and it ends up being a peck, like. Yeah, every movie I've ever seen in my life, when two individuals who are in love come at each other that hard, they are making out full force. And you think, oh, wow, they're about to get into it. And they're like, ugh.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the heck was that? It made the whole relationship feel even more strange than it did before.
I don't know. I thought it was just the urgency of it that I liked. You know, the fact that, you know, we're in a hurry to do things here. That's what I liked about it, but that's just me. But I do like the you know, I mean,
That is just you.
apparently. I'm
Just
used.
kidding.
I'm used to it.
I just wanted. I was urgently waiting for that kiss to be over.
It was the worst 0.4 seconds of the movie,
Fair enough.
to be honest.
Fair enough. So when you know, I like Ron and Hermione walking up to him and kind of explaining the whole thing. It's really quick, but I like it. Like I think that kind of urgency is I really really dig that. The where they're like, you know, they're talking about the Basilisk Fang and how it, you know, holds the venom and Tom Riddle's diary. I think we know where we could find a Basilisk Fang, which I have some problems with, and I'll get into that here in a minute. But but I did like the dialogue and the exchange of that. That was really good. So, you know, Harry's going out to he runs into Luna, and Luna kind of tells him about Rowena Ravenclaw, right? Or
Had Helena Ravenclaw, Rowena's daughter.
Rowena's daughter, right? The ghost of it, and yeah. So he's gonna go track her down. He's talking to her, and I don't like the actress that plays this ghost. I don't think she did a good job. Yeah, this is one of my problems.
That's Kelly MacDonald. That's a Disney princess right there. It's the voice of Merida.
I didn't like her in this film. I can tell you that. I didn't like her in this film. I thought that she played the character super. I don't know. It was off-putting. I don't know. It didn't work for me. Maybe miscast. I don't know. In that, but either way, I don't like her as much or in that role. And then I also kind of had problems with the pacing when they were exchanging dialogue. I don't know why. Like, I understand the significance of the scene, and I know it needs to be there in order for it to work, and I'm glad they have the scene there to make the rest of the movie work. But there's something about the way it was paced, that whole conversation, that I start to get a little bit taken out of the film. I don't know. Maybe it could have been chopped into different moments. I don't know, but either way, however they did it, it was just didn't work for me as well. But you know, once we're past that, and she tells him, you know, it's in the room for requirement. Well, she doesn't actually say directly, but you know, that's basically the conclusion that he comes to. In the inner room, I mean, we're seeing, like, you know, the wizards have the shields up. I mean, Voldemort's starting to, you know, put his attack out there. Love the way that Hogwarts shield looks, like the shield that they put up around it. I mean, like the when they were like attacking it and like it would like explode a little bit like off of it, like the way that the colors popped, at least on the 4K version, was just gorgeous. I really love the way the colors pop in this film for sure. And you know, we also have Ron and Hermione down in the chamber. You know, they're you know, getting rid of this this cup, and you know, but this is my problem. Ron uses the
sword,
parcel mouth to get into the chamber, and he goes, Harry talks in his sleep. It's like, you don't know which one is going to open the chamber, though. You know, like, he's probably saying about 1 billion different things in Parselmouth. You know, like, I don't doubt that he remembers stuff that Harry might have said in his sleep, but I thought that was, like,
total, does it matter, though?
Yeah,
I don't think it matters if what you say in Parseltongue, as long as you are speaking in Parseltongue.
It does. It says it even in the...
Because that's only something someone who speaks Parseltongue would really know, or someone who's listen to Harry sleep a lot.
Only reason I know this is because, like, I've read that Chamber of Secrets book multiple times, and he had to say open something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in order to get that open. So the fact that... Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, the way I interpreted it, or the way I justified it in my mind, was that Harry probably has reoccurring dreams. And if he talks a lot in his sleep, he might have a specific reoccurring dream of the chamber. And
maybe
if he has it often enough, Ron might just know it because it's a dream that he has often, and he's always talking.
Perhaps.
So I don't know.
Checked out.
I guess. I don't know.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
I just saw it as plot convenience, honestly, and just to pace the movie.
Oh, it was. It kind of was.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, just a minor gripe I have. But they get into the chamber. And I love seeing the chamber again. Don't get me wrong here, because the chamber looks like the chamber. It's great. Was happy to be back. It was cool to see like the bones of the basilisk. That was awesome. I mean, it's all kind of a big payoff to the Chamber of Secrets film here, and yeah, really great stuff. They pull out the fang. You know, she goes to.
I would have taken a few extras though. I want to add.
You would take a few extra fangs, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a moment in the movie where the fang falls on the stairs or something, and they're trying to get it, and it's like literally the first thing that came into my mind when I saw this was, don't just take one. Are you crazy? Like take 4.
Yeah,
give them to multiple people.
Yeah.
Right, spread them around. Be like, if any of you come close to the snake, here you go.
Right. Like, Snake's got like 100 teeth. Take them all.
Right.
So there's gonna be this big ass snake walking around, slithering around, right? If you happen to see it, stab it with this. Yeah, it's gonna go over real well. It's gonna go over real well with some other people. But either way. So, when they get into, when they stab it, I mean, obviously the water starts coming down. And Ron and Hermione kiss. I also have a problem with that. Again, the chemistry to me is just not there. It's better than Harry and Ginny, but it's like, it's not really
I actually
there.
think that their kiss kind of works.
Does it? You think so?
I like their kiss. Me too.
And I feel like it had the proper amount of energy behind it. They came at each other hot, and they had a pretty into it sort of kiss. It wasn't just a peck. That's I feel like there's both of them like had the same chemistry, and they came at each other at the same speed, and they were both into it just as much as the other person. That's how I wish that the other kiss would have felt, but it didn't. It was a little.
I like that they laugh.
Peck.
I like that they laugh. I like that they laugh like when it's over, because like it's like haha, it's like kind of funny, like it's they're best friends and they just kiss now,
It's like, it's a sweet moment, but like, I just don't like it in movies. Like when the chemistry again, like I think we've all agreed that we would have rather Harry end up with Hermione, right? At the end of the day. And then like, so that's just like a fan nitpick there, I guess. But like in the same hand, I don't like it in movies when we're like, in the middle of this thing and we stop to make out, like it bothers me every time. You're not doing that if it's life, and I don't know, maybe you are, I don't know, but it's just, to me, like, I don't know, I never enjoyed that too much, but that's just me.
Well, to be fair,
they weren't really doing anything pressing. Right. They were done. They did what they needed to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And actually, to be in the book, their first kiss is in front of Harry, and Harry calls it out. He's like, guys, seriously, like right now, you're gonna do this right now in front of me.
Well, then they should have put that in the movie. Either way,
that would have been funny.
They should have been there.
I think that their kiss makes sense. It makes more sense to me. First of all, I mean, other than the fact that their body language was on point and that the actual kiss was noteworthy, but it makes more sense to me because they did a far better job building the groundwork of their relationship than they did with Harry and Ginny.
I agree with that.
Like you could see their relationship coming more.
I agree with that.
I think everyone wanted Harry and Hermione to be together, but if it wasn't going to be Harry and Hermione, by this movie, we wanted it to be Ron and Hermione.
Fair enough. I get why it's there. Again, I do. I get why it's there, but it's just, I don't know. It's like, let's move on. That's how I looked at it. But I just didn't care enough. But either way, so we're moving into at this point. I mean, they start. Harry's gonna head to the room for requirements. Ron and Hermione meet him there, and then they go in there, and then I believe right here. Well, yeah. I mean, they end up getting confronted by Malfoy. Goyle, and Black Crab. That's because
it's literally Goyle and not Crab.
Right.
Like that's literally.
Right.
I feel like we missed a pretty big Voldemort moment.
Did we? Well, when
he broke the shield down.
Oh, that's true.
When they did break
they did break the shield down, right. And also, I mean, when they stab every time they show a Horcrux die, they show Voldemort get a little bit weaker too. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Because I made a note of it in my phone. Like Voldemort, like you probably should have led with that move. Like if you like, he got really angry and he just goes "Bruh," and he just blows the whole shield down, and it's like you could have done that this whole time. You could have kept them from killing that Horcrux.
Yeah.
You could have already been in there, done your business, and been out.
Yeah, well, you know what was funny about that, Adam, is that is the moment, because I was kind of talking to you guys about this off camera a little bit, where there's limitations to magic. It was that exact moment where I started thinking that in my head, what are the limitations to magic? You know what I mean? But I buy it more because it is Voldemort, you know, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
he has the Elder Wand.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. It was
and it's
just
like out of anger. He's like, you know.
Yeah.
And it does
he
break
can
the
feel
wand.
himself breaking down. Yeah.
Right.
And he does break the wand, exactly.
Right. I did not have a problem
it's
with
like
it.
a big deal that he could do that.
Exactly, true. I didn't have a problem with it in general. I was in this context. I was just thinking because of concurrence with Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald. You know, for example, like what are the limitations? You know, with magic. It was that moment, so it was like it's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to.
I think it was. I think that, you know, talking about what are the limitations of magic, like we were talking about earlier. I think this is a good example to show that.
True,
because they did a good job of showing it, because obviously that was a very powerful thing that he just did.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't so powerful that you were like, wow, that's overpowered. Like, can anybody just do that? That's ridiculous. It was just like, wow, that was impressive. Like, that was huge. But there were stipulations. First of all, he's Voldemort. He's one of the most powerful wizards in the world. Second of all, he has the Elder Wand, and there were ramifications to his action because he split the Elder Wand by doing it. So I think that they did a really good job of showing somebody do something really powerful to show you can't just do this all the time. There are rules.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. Yeah,
exactly.
they did. And I liked the moment a lot. Yeah, it's just. No, I mean, there's no gripe there. It's just, it was one of those things of like, you know, like how convenient can we get with it and to where it just feels too convenient. But you're right. They showed the wand cracking through. I like that visual, by the way, when they zoom into the wand. Cool. It's very cool. It's very cool. That's really awesome. But yeah, it did. It cracked the wand and, you know, kind of weakened it a bit. I mean, it was great stuff. And, excuse me. So, the other thing I was going to, you know, mention here, is the fact that, you know, just a fun fact, because we were talking about the African American version of crab, yeah, because did you guys know that the actual crab was in prison, like the actor, yeah, during this movie, so that's why he could not make it for this one. Just a fun fact, but in the inner room here,
couldn't make
he was
it.
in Azkaban.
Yes,
literally,
he was in the
actual. He was in
Azkaban.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, bar fight. I'm pretty sure he got into, like, almost killed a guy, from what I understand.
I think, yeah, it was something
like
crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, in the inner room here, we get that nice moment with Seamus then and Neville, where we get to see the bridge blow, which was really, really awesome. I mean, I really like that part. I think it's a lot of fun to watch. But, you know, going back to the room for requirement, you know, they're confronted by Malfoy and his buddies. So I like the part where Ron's like chasing after them. I thought that was really funny. And then him coming back and the face expression. So he's like, "Go, he'll set the bloody place on fire." Also, Harry obviously finds the diadem as well. Excuse me. Yeah, so he finds that as well. And I think, no, they wait till they get out of there to destroy it. That's right, because then the fire comes out, and then they're flying around on the brooms. This is one of the parts where I felt like the effects looked a little bit dated. Not the fire. I thought the fire was cool, but like for some reason, them on the brooms did not look as good as it has in the past. I don't know why. I don't know if they were.
It was noticeable.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that it wasn't flawless, but then again, I don't know that I've seen any broom rides that were particularly extremely convincing, other than maybe when in some of the later movies when they're actually playing Quidditch and they're moving really quickly, so there isn't a lot of detail to show. But there's a lot of detail in this room, so
that's why
for the time it was made, there was not going to be a way to make it any better.
Yeah, probably not. No, I mean, I'm sure they did the best they could for sure. It does look dated at this point in time on the same hand. So, you know, obviously, I mean, you know, Goyle dies in the fire, and then which I hate to say it. I mean, he got what he deserved there. I
He
mean,
kind of deserved it.
he
honestly.
did, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
this is one of those, like, justified, like, deaths. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, good. You know? Like, you fucking lit the place
And
on
by
fire.
his own hand, too, because he
Right.
didn't know how to control his own spell.
Right, exactly. And you know, I love the fear in Malfoy's face, you know, too, when they're running around. And I like, you know, the fact that they do turn around and they do save Malfoy and the other kid, you know, and then they get out of there.
And I like Ron's very Ron type of line.
Yeah,
when he's
we
like,
die for them. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you. It's a very
We die for
Ron
them,
type
I'm
of
gonna
thing
kill
to say.
you.
It was a very Ron thing to say, for
Yeah.
sure. I do get, I'm not gonna lie, like, I might be alone in this. I haven't really mentioned it in, like, the other reviews because, mostly because I appreciate that, like, a lot of people enjoy it. I do sometimes get annoyed with Ronisms like that, though, like, from time to time. Like, sometimes they really work, and then other times I'm just like, I just get annoyed with them for whatever reason, but, yeah, either way, it's fine. So then they get Malfoy out of there, and
And I
He's
was
gonna
like,
drop that bombshell on us and leave.
I know.
Dom's like, I don't
He's
like
out.
Ron. Okay.
Oh, I like Ron. I do. I think that sometimes.
just messing
No,
with
I
you.
just think that sometimes the writing for Ron can almost get in the way of itself. Sometimes, like, I just feel like sometimes the Ron-isms from time to time can annoy me. Like, when we hear so many of them, it's like, oh, okay, I get it's consistent, but I don't know, something about the way it's done. But you know, then they get out of there, and they destroy the diadem. You know, just kind of knocking through Horcruxes like crazy here, but you know, they destroy it. And you know, we see Voldemort get weaker again. What led them to go down to the boathouse? Did anybody catch this?
Yeah. I was literally just thinking about this. Like, as you were talking, I
They
was
glossed
like,
over
what's the
it,
next sequence
didn't
of
they?
events? No, but I remember because I was literally just remembered.
Okay.
It's because once they get the diadem and they like kick it back in, then like Harry has like
Okay.
a kind of moment into Voldemort's mind, and that's when he sees that Voldemort is going to Snape because because the Elder Wand like isn't
Right.
working for him, so he's gonna go find Snape, and that's where he sees that him and Snape are in the boathouse together.
Yeah,
So that's when they realize they have to go.
Okay, I'm starting to
him.
remember the vision. Oh, because they want to get Nagini, right?
Yeah.
Because Nagini's down there, right? Okay.
Because that's when they realize that it's
Okay.
Horcrux.
That's
Yeah.
making more sense to me. For some reason, it felt like they just went for no reason when I was watching it today. But you know, sometimes your mind wanders
Because
and you miss little things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's also the moment where like Ron and Hermione are, because you know the whole time they've been like, you can't let Voldemort in your head, like you can't do that, but they like
Yeah.
encourage him in that moment. They're like, you have to try, let him in.
Yeah, that's a good
because,
moment. Yeah, that's true.
You know, a
that's,
war's going on.
That's
yeah.
a really good moment.
It's
as
a
well.
really small moment.
It
But
is.
yeah, I
Yeah.
really like that.
I don't know. Maybe I
By the way-
peed or I don't know.
You peed.
Like I went up to use the bathroom in that moment, which is why I forgot when I went to
Okay.
the I was like,
Oh, okay.
It's like, what?
I was like,
It's like, oh
where are
man.
we?
maybe I
Dom
peed,
was
maybe
watching
I
the movie
shit.
and
I
he
don't
just
know.
peed
You tell me.
himself.
I don't know. Anyway, what were you
Like, oh
saying?
yeah, that's where I
Um,
peed myself. I forgot.
I had a question I wanted to ask. Maybe I don't feel like we were told an answer for this.
Yeah.
Well, because the question wasn't really brought up, but do we know what is stopping Voldemort from making more Horcruxes?
Magic has
Like,
limitations.
Like, why stop?
Magic has limitations.
Why stop there? But why 7? To make a Horcrux, you have to kill another human being. Obviously,
So-
he's fine with killing people.
I
a good
think
point.
the answer
That's a good point.
is
He's got a shorter fuse than Vader, dude. He straight up slaughtered somebody
Right.
for saying his name in this movie.
Mhm.
The guy
Yeah.
said, "My lord."
Yeah, I know, he
And it's
really
like,
did.
well, jeez, dude. Like, chill out. Like, even Vader had more
I
restraint.
know,
than
Vader
that.
still let him live, right?
Him and Captain Hook are like pros at killing their own like people. Like
They
they,
don't give
they
a
do
shit.
this
They'll
all the
just- yeah.
time. Both of these characters for sure. Vader does it once every so often, but he does it strategically. I think that Voldemort and Captain Hook don't give a shit. What were you
Yeah.
saying, Sammy, about the Horcrux question?
Oh, so okay, I think the answer to that is so Voldemort like made all of his Horcruxes in between the time like that he left Hogwarts, between when like basically when when he killed Lily and James. So it's all between that time. Because then after that, when he killed Lily and James, and then Harry became his seventh Horcrux, that's when he like kind of went into hiding, kind of, and became like a kind of leech thing that can attach to the back of Professor Quill's head, you know, and be like that little kind of baby thing that gets reborn in Goblet of Fire. So he wasn't like he wasn't a full human in that time. And then I think just by the time he came back, it was like enough was enough. He was like, hey, no, my according to me, my 6 are out there, and that should be okay.
I
That's
feel
what I think
like
the answer is.
if I am Voldemort at this point in time, and it's obvious that my Horcruxes are dwindling, I would be asking myself, what do I have to do to be able to make more? Like, because clearly I'm threatened. And also, it was really stupid on his part to make all the Horcruxes like historical items, like noteworthy things. If I'm Voldemort, I'm going to be like, okay, I am putting part of my soul in this piece of paper. I'm putting it in a shredder, and then I'm just going to put it in a dump. And they're never going to be able to find it.
Right.
No, the fact that they are all like, if you just know what his backstory is, it's very easy kind of to figure out what the Horcruxes might be. Like they were all very methodically planned out by him to be like representatives of things in his life. Like,
well, is there a reason that he would need to access them at some point? That's another question. Is would there be a reason for him to need them again? Because
they would just need to stay like alive. They would need to stay like presentable. I think is the only real requirement.
Right, but they can only be killed really one of two ways.
Right.
So it's like theoretically he could just make an old dirty shoe a Horcrux and just throw it in the middle of a trash heap, and it could sit there for all of eternity and nobody would ever find it. But the only reason I would think he wouldn't is if for some reason he needed to know where his Horcruxes were, he needed to be able to find them, which I would be curious.
Yeah, well, he definitely did. He definitely like put them all in places where like he would know, like he was aware of where all of them were at all times. But also, I think it's like, I don't know, actually. Yeah, because I think it's just the fact that it takes a lot. Like it takes a ton of energy, like literally a part of your soul you have to remove from itself and to put into something else. But yeah, I'm not sure why. That is a good question. Because it's true, because he can feel it, you know. Yeah. He can tell when one's been destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have touched on that now a little bit, maybe. I don't know. But either way, yeah, so they go down to the boathouse. I can't think of another time we've seen the boathouse in a film. Have we? Because I always remember them being in the games, but I can't think of another film that's actually
I don't think so.
I think we have.
I don't think so either.
They're always like in the books, and it was always in the books and in the games and things like that. But I yeah, that's cool. But yeah, I was happy to see it. Regardless, it's a cool little area of Hogwarts. But you know, Snape and Voldemort are standing in there, and he's explaining.
I was like, wait, hold on. Before we get to that, we have to talk about the scene right in between these two with Harry, Ron, and Hermione just running through the chaos of Hogwarts.
Oh, of course, yes.
Because this is one of. I mean, oh, sorry, I'm just gonna go off real quick because this is one of my favorite scenes of all time. Like this is like every war movie wishes to have a scene like this where it's just your hero going through all of it and you just completely understand the grasp of the war. Like you get how serious it is, you get what's going on, you see people dying, you see students dying, you see everyone attacking everyone. Hermione is like 0.5 seconds away from getting blasted herself at one point. And then it ends with Aberforth coming back, by the way, and just doing like the biggest protection spell of all time.
He's just like, yeet!
Yeah, literally, he's just like, done, got it. It took like 20 teachers to get that before, and he's just like, boom, done. I'm Aberforth, I'm better, cool. I just absolutely love. I could write a whole paper about why this whole scene of them just running through Hogwarts is one of the best like depictions of war I've ever seen on film, honestly.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I did kind of laugh when they. It was tragic, but I did kind of laugh when they showed Ron's ex-girlfriend.
Lavender.
I did
that's what you were gonna say.
It was almost like David Yates was like, I just have to get this in there. It's not necessary, but I want to make sure the audience knows that I killed this bitch. Like, it was just one of the most unnecessary cuts, but it was just
Megan was
really
like, oh no. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, but I mean, it's kind of sad. Like, it's a student. And I'm like, no, she's pretty obnoxious.
She's an innocent 17-year-old child, but she was real annoying though.
She was straight up that, like, she gave Ron the date rape drug. Like, she is guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did laugh. I chuckled a bit. I'm not gonna lie. It was just was an unnecessary cut. You didn't need to show her death, but
I'll give you that. That is true.
It's funny though.
Because I knew you were gonna say that. Yep.
You know, David Yates put it in there for people that absolutely hate that character. Like, you know, he just cut to it to be like, here you go. But yeah,
it probably should have been somebody meaningful, somebody that you would look at and go, oh no.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that it was her.
Die in this time of all the main characters that die in this like a period of time that before Voldemort like lets them stop is insane, and we choose to focus in on Lavender Brown. Meanwhile, like Fred, Lupin, and Tonks are up here.
We really
just,
did breeze over their deaths. Like, it was very quick. It was like,
we really do.
All of a sudden they were on screen and they're dead, and you're like, they're dead? Like, what?
Like,
what? Like, I want to know how.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
No, for sure. I get that too.
100%.
I get that too.
Especially if you're a casual fan too, you're just like, wait, what? Who is that? Oh, they're dead now? Oh.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. For sure.
So glossed over.
Yeah. So they, then they get to the boathouse, and then we're seeing the conversation with Snape and Voldemort here. Voldemort's explaining to him about, you've been a good servant, but fuck you. Because, I mean, you you took the Elder Wand, and, he basically, that's brutal, that spell he cast on Snape to kill him, too. Like, you see, like, a little bit of blood, like, start to form, like, right here.
Slits his throat.
Yeah. It's brutal to watch, but, the sound, too, that it makes when he does it. And then he's like, Nagini, kill. It's like, ain't he just gonna bleed out right there? Like, why do you need to have the snake get him? But okay.
Now, did he kill Snape just because he was mad at Snape, or did he kill him because he thought that killing him would somehow make the Elder Wand attached to him?
The latter.
I would go with the latter, but maybe it's a little column A, column B too. Like, maybe Voldemort was onto him, maybe. I mean, it's possible. I don't know. I mean,
or just didn't care, because again, he's like killing followers for just speaking out of turn.
Yeah, sure.
He'd kill his own mother at this point.
Yeah, he would. For sure. Yeah, I mean, it could be a little column A, column B. Like, maybe he was on to Snape. I mean, Voldemort's not dumb, I mean, we got to remember that. He's not completely dumb. He definitely has, he has scruples, so to speak. But, so the thing I like here, is obviously, the moment that Harry goes in there and he's like, don't judge me after this. Basically, and he doesn't say that, does he? Does he say "Don't judge me" after this, or am I thinking of a different movie, different line?
Snape.
Yeah, when he's dying, I thought he said
Snape
that maybe before he.
No, he just says take them, and
that's all he says.
You have your mother's eyes.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm thinking of Slughorn.
Because I cry every time he says that.
I'm thinking of Slughorn in the last one when he pulls out the...
It's the fact that the man dies basically looking into the eyes of Lily Potter. Like, I need, like, I have to almost pause the movie every time. Like, I need, like, a minute. It's a precursor to when we actually get his backstory, and you just need to, like... prep yourself for it.
This Snape stuff is the most cry-worthy stuff in this entire series. Yeah. And it's always, every time I watch it, it's like, it hurts. Like, it actually hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really good writing.
It really did hit me really hard this time, and I don't remember it hitting me the way it did today, when I watched it for whatever reason. It really resonated with me today when I watched it. And it's very heartbreaking, but the Harry takes the tears up to the Pensieve, this is where all the shit plays out. I mean, we see, young Snape and young Petunia. What?
I'm gonna interject real quick because just before that, real quick, is when we go into the Great Hall and we see all the dead bodies and everything. But real quick, there's a part where Filch is getting like stitched up by Slughorn, which is just so funny because that means Filch was like throwing hands during the Battle of Hogwarts.
Yeah, it's true.
I want to see him throw hands. Like that's what I want to see.
I wanted to see it.
Filch could scrap. He could scrap. You're right. But then they do walk through Hogwarts, and this is where Ron realizes that his brother died. You know,
that scene is hard to watch sometimes.
It is
like it's devastating.
Yeah, you almost see the moment too. It's in that voiceover moment, like at the boathouse when you hear Voldemort's voice. You almost see the moment, you know, because they don't like actually show him get killed, but like you see like where it happened.
He gets like Expelliarmus or something,
right?
Yeah.
You see that. You see his wand at least, you know, go away from him, and
why not? Like that's my question. Why couldn't this movie be longer? Why couldn't they show stuff like that? Like that, we want to see that. Like,
yeah.
Especially like Lupin dying. Like, we want to see that. Like, we care about him.
Yeah.
Exactly, and like Fred too. Like Fred Weasley, half of the Weasley twins, and we just don't. It just happens off screen.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
Blows my mind, especially in the book, like they do show like what they do explain like what actually happened when he died. It's so emotional. Like I can't believe it.
Yeah,
that's the really bizarre thing about this movie to me is that even though it is my favorite movie to watch, every time I watch it, the weirdest thing to me is the fact that this is the dramatic conclusion. This is the pinnacle, but sometimes it feels like an afterthought. Sometimes it feels like, this is where the budget ran out, and this is where the film ran out, and this is all we got, and we got to fit everything in here. And it's like, why wouldn't you like freaking balls out this movie? Like, why wouldn't you make this a 3-hour masterpiece and show everything and put your whole budget into it and smash the crap out of the box office? Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, Return of the King. Do the Return of the King thing.
It just feels so short, and a lot of it feels like an afterthought, and that's the most frustrating thing to me.
Yeah. What's up with your mic, Adam? It sounds muffled now all of a sudden. It just like went out or something.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Tap on it a couple times, maybe. I don't know. It's just something happened to it.
Check.
It sounds better. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounded better. That's pretty good.
That's good. Anyway, so
but now the hardest I've ever cried in my life scene.
Yeah, it's really, really dramatic and great. Harry goes out to the Pensieve, pours the tears in there, and we get the backstory. We're seeing young Lily, Petunia, young Snape. I mean, we're kind of seeing the fact that they did have at least a friendship, you know, and you know, basically that, you know, we know everything about James Potter already because we'd seen that in Order of the Phoenix. They don't necessarily touch on a lot of that here about how James Potter basically bullied him, you know, and like why that makes him kind of the lesser man in this case. Like, let's be real, because we all, like, after seeing all this, we really just root for Snape.
We're thinking like, too highly of him.
No.
That's a really big discussion, actually, with, like, niche Harry Potter fans like myself, is, like, what happened? Why did Lily pick James?
Yeah.
Because all you see is him just being the biggest asshole the whole time. Like, up until, like, their 7th year, they talk about how, like, Lily and James were not friends, and, like, she didn't like him. She thought he was an asshole. And it's just like,
Snape is like the biggest.
What happened?
He's like the biggest movie character tragedy to me. Like, everything about his character is such an incredible tragedy. Like, he grows up with this girl and he's best friends with her and he's in love with her. And then she falls for the guy that's bullying him. He keeps getting bullied. He's weird looking. And then later on, like, he's got to watch the girl that he loves dies. Now he has to look after her son, who looks like her, and he's working in this place. He never gets the promotion that he deserves. Like, it's, and then in the end, like, he dies for somebody that he shouldn't have had to die for. Like, he basically put his whole life on the line just to protect Harry. Like, his entire life's meaning was revolved around Harry. Like, Snape never got to live his own story. He never got his happy ending. He never got anything that he wanted. Like, it's literally the most tragic story that I've ever heard. It's so upsetting, honestly.
I mean, watching him, you know, hold Lily Potter in that moment is like, it's devastating
My
to look
God.
at. It was
He just walks over James's body.
He does.
That part always makes me
He
laugh
does.
a little bit. He
He
doesn't
does.
give a shit.
I kind of chuckled
He's
at
like,
that today
"Bye."
too. Yeah, he just walks over him, but you get it though. I mean, he didn't care about James. Why would he? You know, he cared about
it's
Lily,
just
and
funny.
he just, yeah, no, it was devastating to look at. I mean, obviously the conversation between him and Dumbledore there is insane. I mean, the fact that I love the line, "You've raised him like a pig for slaughter." You know, like I
Right,
think
because,
that's a great
like,
line.
Because again, like what Adam said, that's also so tragic too, that he spent, his rest of his life just protecting Harry and making sure that Harry would be okay.
Yeah.
And then he finds out that was all just for him so he could die at the proper moment, that no
Right.
matter what he did, Harry was still gonna have to die.
Yeah.
Like Lily's son was still gonna have to die no matter what he did. Like,
Yeah.
he
But
does
You
it
could have
anyway,
at least
because,
told him, "Hey, Snape, but I do have the resurrection stone, and I'm going
Right.
to give it to him,
You
so
could have
it's
said
going to be
that for sure.
okay."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right,
the
yeah.
thing is, though, I mean, Dumbledore, maybe didn't know that Harry would figure that out, though. Like I don't know if he knew that for sure, that Harry would figure out how to retrieve it. I mean, I'm sure he that was the
think he
plan.
did.
You think so?
Yeah, it says I open at the close.
Sure.
I mean, that's big, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dumbledore really was the worst friend. He was terrible at explaining things
A
fully.
little bit.
Like,
Yeah.
there is so much pain that could have been avoided if Dumbledore would have just shot straight with everybody from the start.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If he was just real with everyone,
Yeah.
so much could have been avoided.
Yeah.
But no, we had to go play these games, and now look at where we're at.
Yeah. But, on the same hand, I mean, Dumbledore was started as, I mean, he was a teacher, and I think, one of the best things a teacher could do for you is to, let you figure out a lot on your own. I understand this is life and death. So
This ain't the time, Dumbledore. This ain't the time. Teaching is for algebra.
Yeah.
This is life or death.
Yeah, I get that
the
for
kid
sure.
will die. The boy
You
is
don't
going to
teach-
die.
You don't wait to teach a World War II soldier how to use an M16 when they're rushing the beaches in Normandy.
No, I
Honestly.
understand that, but I do understand the consistency of him being a teacher. He wants, he feels like everybody will be it all worked out in the end, right? I mean, come on, give him a break. It all worked
Yeah, it
out.
all
Justified
worked
to
out.
me,
It all
it's
planned out.
fine.
Snape died. It all worked out.
I know they're just dead forever, but
We
About-
got all of
it's
these
fine.
dead people.
11 deaths later, it all worked out.
multiple families destroyed.
Just
But
ruined.
you know what? It's fine.
The castle is in pieces. Filch is getting patched up.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Lavender Brown is dead, people. Come on. This is serious. And you're just gonna Harry will figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, so Harry kind of comes down after receiving all this information. He's talking to Ron and Hermione, and this is a devastating scene to watch too. When he tells
From this
him.
moment on, it just doesn't stop.
No, it really
after
doesn't.
this.
No, it's
Yeah.
full speed ahead here. He tells him what's going on. And he doesn't even tell him. He's like, I think I've known for a while. I think you've known too. And yeah, so that was a big moment. And
No, I'll go with you.
Right, I
Hermione's
know.
I'll go with
I
you.
know.
Like, oh, it gets me every
I know.
time.
I agree. It's amazing. And yeah, so Harry's he's gonna go surrender essentially, and then this is where we get the moment of the ghosts, with the resurrection stone, where he talks to all of them and has that conversation, and I never wanted any of this, and they just go, well, yeah, Dumbledore did, so here we are. But
You know who should have been there though?
who?
Why? Snape. I wanted Snape
Thank
there.
you.
Why was
Thank
Snape
you.
not there? It doesn't make any sense. Like, Snape should be
Why is
there.
Snape
It
not
would have.
there?
It would have. Oh, it just would have been so heartwarming to finally see him, and for Harry to get to see him like in a
Yeah.
respectful light that he deserved. Like, he risked his whole life for this kid. Like,
He's-
to be able to see Snape
Yeah.
for who he really
Yeah.
is. Like, it would
Well,
have been so
he's
special.
he's freshly dead. He's still in the processing phase.
I don't care how fresh he
Hey,
is.
Lupin though too. Lupin died.
Gotta
like roughly the same time.
Yeah, you got to run.
He's there.
Run a little update on the resurrection stone. We're good to go. But
Needs a software update.
Needs a firmware update.
Yeah, this is the old firmware. Sorry, Snape.
Yeah, sorry, Snape. It doesn't account. It doesn't account for recently found heroes. You were a villain this whole time. It hasn't calculated it yet.
No, he's in that process.
Seriously, why is he not there?
Yeah,
why is he not there? It makes me angry.
Narratively,
why is he not there?
Narratively, it would have been great to see. But them. Excuse me. So he walks into the woods where Voldemort is. He sees they got Hagrid tied up there, and I love Hagrid's reaction to it. It's like, Harry, no, why are you here? And so Voldemort, he does the deed, and they, we get Harry and
boy
this,
who lived, come to die.
Yeah, it's a good line, and we get Harry going to up into, I guess, what is heaven, the wizard version of that, or purgatory maybe, I don't know, but either way he runs into Voldemort's spirits, and he's talking to him about that, and I like the little, people had gripes with this, I remember when it came out, but I like the little fetus, the Voldemort fetus. I think it's cool, and I love this.
Scary.
Yeah.
Put that on a motivational poster.
Yeah. I love this.
I like the fetus, Dom Martino.
I like this whole scene, actually. The aesthetic of it, I mean, it feels just so fucking sci-fi that it's just right up my alley. It's so cool. The conversation they're having is obviously very meaningful. It's great. Dumbledore's still being very vague here, obviously, and the way
big surprise.
Would be.
Yeah, we're shocked.
I love the Snape's Patronus, the Patronus matching up. He's like, isn't that peculiar? And Dumbledore's, I do love it when he's like, actually, the more I think about it, it's not peculiar at all, or curious at all, or it's a good line. But explain that to me a little bit more, Sammy, the Patronus thing, because
absolutely,
why do their Patronuses match up? Like, I'm still a little lost on it. I think I understand it, but I'm not sure. So, like, expound on that if you would.
Right. So your Patronus is basically like your spirit animal. It's basically like it represents a part of you, and it's like you are it. It is you. It's an extension of yourself. So and it can change.
Yeah.
And it can also change. It changes. Like you can have one Patronus and then go through something, and then it can change. It did that also in the books. That's what happens. With Lupin and Tonks, where Lupin rejects her and she gets so sad that her Patronus turns into a werewolf.
Yeah.
So things like that have happened, and it's the same like Lily and James was a stag and a doe, male and female version of all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a representative of you.
Because it's a doe, which is a deer, a female deer.
A deer, a female deer.
Right.
Perfect.
No, it's cool. That was what I thought too, but like I just wanted to make sure I had it straight. Why it was the way it was, but so anyway, I like Narcissa goes to check the body, and she's like, "Is Malfoy still alive?" And he gives a little slight nod, and she verifies, quote unquote, with Voldemort that Harry's dead. And so they're bringing him back to the castle, and get a big moment here. I mean, Harry Potter is dead and all that, and it's excuse me.
This is the best thing J.K. Rowling has ever written. Sorry, I took that as an opening.
Oh no, you're good.
To me, this scene is the best thing J.K. Rowling has ever written in her career. I mean, also in the movie, it's an adaptation of it, obviously. No. But it's just the sequence of events of you have Voldemort and the Death Eaters come in, and they're all like bragging, and they couldn't be happier. You have Hagrid carrying the dead body of Harry Potter, the boy that he's known since he was a baby. And it starts with like
he carried into the world, you know what I mean? That's what I think is so poetic about it. He's carrying him back into the world again, But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
And then you go to like Ginny, who just screams out of devastation, and then there's Ron and Hermione, who you can tell are like trying to keep it together but are obviously still absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
And you just keep going to the faces of everybody who has
Yeah.
that same reaction. And then when you have Voldemort being like, we've won, anybody gonna join us? And how it's just dead silence and nobody moves. And then Narcissa calls out for Draco, and he's so reluctant to do it. Like, you just can tell he does not, he's not into this. He's like, I'm not here, but it's my family. What am I gonna do? Leave them? And then the whole thing with Neville and that whole speech is so beautiful, of how it doesn't matter that Harry's gone, like the fight is still here, we still have the fight in us, so let's do it. And then it's the most brilliant reveal of how Harry just rolls out of Hagrid's arms and starts running away. Like,
it's great. It's great.
It's just it's the most perfect. The scene is so written so perfectly. It has all the stakes, it's all the drama, it's everything.
Well, the reason Narcissa...
Calm before the storm, also.
Right, for sure. Well, I mean, the reason Narcissa calls Draco over is because she knows they're getting the fuck out of there once this kid wakes back up, which I also always kind of find kind of funny, you know what I mean? It's like, she's like, she knows he's alive, she knows what's about to go down, she's taking her kid, her husband, they're getting out, you know, they're done with this. But, you know, I mean, I couldn't agree more. The Neville speech is one of my favorite moments in this film, like when he does that. It's beautifully written. Him yanking the sword out of the hat, you know, Harry just knowing that that's his moment to come in, you know what I mean? And it's almost as if, I know it's like, but metaphorically, it's almost as if that speech, you know, resurrected him, you know what I mean, in a way. And it's cool like that. Like I really dig that. But Adam, do you like all this stuff that Samuel was going over there? I mean, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I particularly like how awkward Draco and Voldemort's hug is.
Oh, me too.
I love. Same.
It's literally like the funniest thing in the world. Because Draco's just like, and he's like, it's even Voldemort's awkward about it. The way he's holding it, it's just so funny. I mean, I really like, particularly Voldemort as a character here. I mean, he's gloating here.
He is.
Like he's really gloating. He's on top of the world. Amazing acting job. It's just like pinnacle Voldemort moment. And you know, obviously we get to see Neville and his little brave character turnarounds. So I think it's a really cool scene. The final part of this movie is just like, the whole final quarter of this movie is just ridiculous. Like in terms of how much happens, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I agree. I'll be remiss if I don't mention this about the hug though, because I notice this every time. So when he goes to hug him, they cut for whatever reason over to Dean Thomas, his character, and like he even has a look on his face like, this is awkward. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. And then also, everybody talks about the laugh. Somebody even made like a loop on YouTube that goes for 10 hours of Voldemort going. It gets me every time.
I think I've actually watched that.
Yeah, me too. It's great.
I love the internet, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, obviously that was like, you know, meme status stuff right there. But yeah,
really funny.
It is. But yes, you're right. The last part of this movie is epic. I mean, you know, we got Ron and Hermione trying to get the snake, and then, you know, Harry, you know, with Dumbledore, or not Dumbledore, Voldemort, you know, their whole thing. And then you got the battle going on within Hogwarts. I mean, this is the "not my daughter, you bitch" amazing line from Mrs. Weasley, who takes out Bellatrix once and for all. That was
she
great.
Don't hold back.
No, I mean, that was
She's
great.
not playing.
I was really scared. I remember when I first saw this movie, being a book reader, that they were going to cut that line, you know, because of, you know, a little too much, but they kept it, and I was so happy. But yeah, it was a good line. So then they had the Ron and Hermione obviously going after the snake. And then Harry and Voldemort, I mean, I like the lines of, come on, Tom, let's finish this the way we started it together, and him trying to explain to him about, the Elder Wand's really not yours, buddy. I think it's cool how we kind of like pieced that together there beforehand, and, them going down to the final battlefield, and then like how they like just fall, and then they have to like crawl for their wands is like, it's awesome, like the way that whole thing is shot.
That whole thing, like when they fall and they're just like like going through like half smoke, and it's just so cool looking.
It's my favorite moment.
And they're like pulling their faces, and then there's like a part where it's like their faces combine and like
we're kind of seeing the inside of what that looks like when like the Death Eaters and Voldemort are like flying in their smoke. It's amazing. I mean, it's really awesome stuff. And like I said, like my favorite moment of the movie is them just going for their wands, coming up and then just going at it with each other, and it's incredible to watch. It's like grade A epic Harry Potter. I mean, this is like Braveheart style Harry Potter. You know what I mean? Like it's that epic, and I just love it so much. And then Neville, coming in clutch, with the sword, getting that snake was just absolutely unbelievably incredible. And then the way that they go down, they come back up for one last rowdy dow, and then they they fight
one
again.
One last rowdy dow.
And then
your face.
It's great. And then Voldemort dies. This is the end of that. I also like right after that, Harry Potter, going back into the castle, kind of, seeing everybody just talking again, like a little sense of normalcy, here, and then him explaining to Ron and Hermione that the wand is his. I do like the way he says it too, and because they're just kind of left hanging, like, so what's that mean? And he just looks at the wand, he's like, it's mine. That whole thing was great. And he breaks it and throws it. Ron and Hermione like look over the edge, like, what the fuck did you just do? Like I like that reaction to it, but at the same hand, they're all just like together. They're happy. I like the pull out of the camera. But yeah, what do you guys think of all that? I'll start with Adam.
I have kind of interesting opinion on the end of this movie. So I love these movies so much. I love this story so much. Every time I watch it, I'm never satisfied. I don't know why. I think it's because the story means so much to me, and I loved it so much. And I grew up with this story. Literally, I was about the same age. Like, I feel like it was such a big part of me growing up that every time I watch it, I just feel like it. I don't know. Every time I see Voldemort die, I'm almost a little upset. Like, maybe it's weird, but I didn't want him to die. Like, I wanted, even if she never continued the story, I almost wish she would have left us guessing, like left something to insinuate he might not actually be gone. And that's always the most upsetting thing to me, is that it's just such a long story, and it was such a big part of my life, and Voldemort's such a powerful character, and it's just like, boom, now he's dead, and it's all over, and happy ending, and it's like it's over as quickly as it began. And I'm a type of guy that I like a happy ending. I like it when things get resolved and when things get settled. Harry Potter is a completely different story. It goes against everything in every fiber of my being, because I don't like having the happy ending. I don't want it to be settled. Even if she never touched the story ever again, I almost wish she left a little bit of darkness there to always make us wonder, so that I know, even if it's never formally continued, that I know that this story isn't dead.
I actually kind of live on. I do get where you're coming from, because I was kind of thinking the same thing in a way today when I was watching it too, where I was like, okay, so what if they ever did want to continue? Where would it go? You know what I mean? And I was always kind of like, it did. Like I
really want to tell you things that happen. Well, I really want to tell you things that happen in The Cursed Child. I'm not going to, but like, just know that I'm thinking about certain. Maybe what you guys have said is reminding me of things that happen. Yeah. Just take that as you will.
Fair enough. No, but I had this kind of thought today where it's like, Adam, because like I think to myself too, like I typically do like slightly dark endings, like I don't like everything to just be settled in a way. But in this particular case, I do like the completion of the story. You know, I will say that. But there was that thought in my mind of what if, you know what I mean? What if they did just kind of leave a little bit open there?
It doesn't. What's weird is that it feels strangely incomplete for a complete ending.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know what it is. From the moment I watched this the first time in the theater, every time I've watched it since, I've never felt complete when I watch this. There's something that I feel like I'm missing every time I watch, and I can't put my finger on it. I think maybe it's just because the whole movie felt like I said, it felt like, oh, this is the last one. This is the budget we have left. This is the film we have left. Run with it.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of like that. So it almost felt like we rush. And then, oh, Voldemort's dead. Here we go. Happy ending.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy cow. Like, I've been waiting for this my whole life, and now it's over, and I'm never going to get it ever again. And for a complete happy ending, it didn't feel so complete to me. And it's just one of those weird things that I can't put my finger on. I don't know why. I just know every time I watch it, I'm not really satisfied.
It's fair.
It being my favorite one to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be.
I would encourage. I
was just going to say, go ahead, Sammy. Go ahead. Say what you were going to say, because I'll bounce off that. But yeah.
I was like, I would just encourage you then, if you don't remember that much of the book, I would encourage you then to read the way it ends in the book, because there is a lot more to it. So, because I'm saying, like, I don't really feel that way, but then again, it's partly because, like, I can fill in the blanks myself, and it is so very rushed that I'm kind of like okay with it almost. Like, I understand everything wrapped up and everything, and now it's moving on and it's all good. Yeah. But I do get what you mean. It's also a little hard because, like, also the last 3 words of Deathly Hallows is "all was well." Yeah. And so it's hard for me to think of, like, well, what if there was some extra chaos in there? Because I'm just, for my whole life, I've been settled with, like, no, at the end of Harry Potter, all was well. You know?
I want all to be well.
But I get that.
All to be not well.
Am I wrong about this, though, Sammy? Isn't it even, like, the all was well, I think, is on a single page? And I think that page, the only thing it says is all was well, if I'm not mistaken, or am I wrong about that?
I think no, I don't think so. I think it's just the last sentence. I could check, but I don't think so.
For some reason in my mind, I remember the line
I have the book, I could check.
I remember the line very well, but for some reason I just remember it being on one page by itself, like just all was well, but whatever.
Yeah.
But either way, you know, like, I think that Adam might be onto something. Maybe, you know, him not feeling as satisfied is the reason that they've greenlit a series now for this, you know, and maybe it's because of that. Maybe the writers even feel like there needs to be more, you know, or the people in charge now, the powers that be now, feel like there does need to be more. So let's make a series, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it pans out well. But yeah, no, I like the ending personally. I mean, we'll talk about the epilogue too, which I have one small gripe with the epilogue. Like you, Sammy, I could fill in a lot of the blanks of the book. I don't really mind how it was portrayed here in film. Like, I get that it's like the film adaptation of that epilogue, and I don't mind it myself. I think that it plays well for film. The one thing I have problems with is the prosthetic makeup that they use for these characters.
It is weird, isn't it? It doesn't even look like prosthetic. It almost looks like CGI. It looks very weird. Bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, Harry looks
the only
like
thing I can think
pale.
Of why they did it is because I guess there's only 2 things that continue growing until you're old, and it's your nose and your ears.
I guess.
So to make them older, they made all of their noses bigger.
I guess.
It was very bizarre, but they did it. It was a choice.
That didn't execute too well to me, but the epilogue itself I'm good with. I think that they got the important points across that were in the book and in the film here. And then, all the other stuff that I want, like I said, I'm with Sammy. I mean, the epilogue is longer, obviously, in the book. I mean, everything is longer in the book, but I could fill that in myself as well because I have read the book. But yeah, I do recommend reading Deathly Hallows as well if you needed more from this, because there's a lot of expansion.
I think it's the so I didn't finish all of the books. I tried to read all of the books. I didn't finish all of the books.
Yeah.
I feel like you could
Deathly Hallows
read,
was the only one I never even tried to.
Oh wow.
Dang. I think you could just go into Deathly Hallows like right now. Like, I don't think you would have to like reread anything or start where you picked off. Like, I feel like you know enough that like you'd be okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to be lost at anything. Because there's obviously differences and different things happen differently in the book, but like I feel like you still follow it for sure.
I mean, definitely Hallows
recommend.
is the one that's most lore heavy anyway, in my opinion. You know, as far as the books
You
go.
learn the most.
Right,
Yeah, you learn the
so-
most new information. in
Yeah,
Deathly
for
Hallows,
sure,
honestly.
for sure. And like I remember Goblet of Fire being particularly lore heavy as well, but I think the Deathly Hallows book wise was the most lore heavy for sure. So I think you'd be fine doing that as well. But yeah, I like the epilogue. I was happy with it. I like the the score obviously from the first film coming back in again.
Makes me cry every time.
Great.
I could pick
It's
that
wonderful.
score out of a million.
Yeah.
Like I know that score anywhere.
It's wonderful. But yeah, Sammy, do you like the epilogue?
Oh man,
film?
yeah, I really love the epilogue.
me too.
Again, because the important things about the epilogue is that Harry and Ginny are married, Ron and Hermione are married, they have kids, and now their kids go to Hogwarts, and all was well. But the big part of that I just love though is the when he talks to Albus Severus, his youngest son, and says the whole thing of you were named after 2 headmasters of Hogwarts, and one of them was a Slytherin, and yet he was the bravest man I ever knew. Like that, again, it's beautiful in the moment, and it makes sense character-wise, but also just thematically in Harry Potter, that it just makes so much sense that, like, yes, you can be a Slytherin and also be the most brave human alive. You know what I mean? That just because you're one thing doesn't mean that you can't do anything else, which wraps up, I feel like, the series completely.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I always love. Yeah, and it's just the last shot of all 3 of them, being old and watching their kids go on the train,
it's
and
good shot.
The music. It's beautiful.
It's great. Adam, epilogue. Did you enjoy it?
Obviously it looks weird because of the nose stuff. That one, that was
given.
off-putting from the very first time I saw it. I was like, why?
Yeah, I agree.
So that's really off-putting. It
Mrs. Doubtfire did it better than that. Come on.
Right. That always threw the entire scene off to me. Like I could never focus because of how weird it was. But I don't know. I mean, it's the end of this movie. Like I said, the end of this movie is really, really weird for me. It feels weird. I mean, first of all, I never liked Harry and Ginny together.
Yeah.
So now I have to live with that. And they got these noses, and I'm sitting in the theater just like praying that they would give me something to hang on to. And, I never really got that other than, the kids getting on the train, but there is no reason to expect anything to happen from that either. I mean, it felt like it was all neat and tidy and it was all wrapped up. And I think that's why I don't like it, because I don't want it to be wrapped up at all.
Yeah.
Even if it's never touched again. This is one of those stories that's just so great that I didn't want all is well. I wanted a little open ending. I wanted to end the book all is well, and then 20 years, 20 years from now, she writes a book, and the first page is like, so the last one was all is well. The first page of this one, like 40 years later, is well. All is well.
That's really funny. Love that.
That's great.
But I think that is a testament to how amazing this story is, because me and the stuff that I like, and obviously I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and that has been a really big inspirational part of my life and a part of me growing up. And even as many times as I've seen Star Wars and as into that as I am, Harry Potter feels very unique to me. Like there is nothing else in my life that I can compare to the feeling that I have towards this movie series. I can't compare it. And I've been forced watching it recently. I'll go live on TikTok and people always ask me, what's your favorite movie? They ask me all the time. And I've always really struggled to answer that. And after rewatching these recently, it's really, I've kind of come to the realization, I don't know that I could ever pick a single movie that is my favorite, but the first thing that I've started saying is I love Harry Potter. Even above Star Wars. And we've talked about before, Star Wars is an amazing story, but the way that they did it, it's so broken, it's so jumbled, it's pitted so many people against each other, it's so uncohesive. And Harry Potter for one, has the benefit that I grew up watching it, but for two, it was just so cohesive and just incredibly well written and thought out. And it's been this masterpiece in my life, and I hold it on a pedestal, and nothing will ever take it off.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's the end of the reviews.
Yeah.
We're done. This has been a lot of fun. So I do want to, close out with this. Definitely want to, this is going to also be the last episode of Dom's Corner, the Dom's Corner podcast, that is. I mean, we'll do some Dom's Corner shorts in the future, but the Dom's Corner podcast, this is the final episode, and I definitely want to say a few words before we took off here today. So, I mean, it's been great. We started this podcast, I mean, with just me talking shit, I mean, like, about movies, and it was just me. Is saying whatever, and pretty much quickly after that moved into just Adam and I reviewing Star Wars, which was a lot of fun. And then next thing we knew, we had Ian on board, and then Mark was coming in, and then we had Jareth in sometimes, and then next thing you know, I meet Sammy and Cisco, and it just evolved into this incredible thing that I look forward to doing every week, even though sometimes the pressure of uploading videos week after week is a big deal to me. Sometimes it's still like I still look forward to those. I understand that I sit down here and this has been a therapeutic outlet, and I'm still gonna have that on a different sort of platform in a way, but still it's just been an amazing journey of this show, of this iteration of the Dom's Corner podcast. And, starting next week, we'll start the Interax Entertainment podcast. And I'm interested to kind of start a new adventure with Sammy, Cisco, and probably others. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I just want to make sure I said that before we left here today. I want to thank Adam as well for, being somebody I kind of leaned on in the beginning, to kind of help me get started with these reviews, and or just doing more and just being more comfortable talking on camera, because if I didn't have him to conversate with in the beginning or to bounce off of, I wouldn't have gotten better. And I think that's a lot of what helped me get to this point of just being better at it. And I'm just excited to evolve this into something new and hopefully grow along the way. Maybe add more people, or hopefully add more people, and build this community out. And I mean, it's not the end. It's a new beginning. And as of right now, all is well. So that's I guess where I'll stop.
Well.
20 years from now, Dom's Corner comes back just as it left off.
But yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody, Sammy, Adam, Cisco. If you watch this, thank you very much for doing that. Mark, Jareth, everybody who's ever joined this podcast, Logan. I mean, you guys have all been really, really awesome attributes to this, and helping me grow, and just having conversations, and doing the fun shit. Josh, another one I left out there. I'm sorry, but just anybody who's come on here today, you've been really, really great. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to say. I mean, this is going to be your last episode on this iteration of it. I mean, I guess I'll start with Adam, seeing as how you were kind of the first one to come in and help me out. But yeah,
it's a blast. I mean, it's fun. It's no matter what I have going on in my week, as hard as it is to fit in, I always look forward to it. It's always something, because we live out here in California, and the pandemic hit, and we didn't have a chance to make a lot of friends out here, and we don't have a lot of family out here, and so it's been one of the few ways that I have to actually connect with people, and because I don't have a lot of people out here to connect with other than my wife, and so it's been a way for me to actually talk to my friends and pretend that I still live in Indiana and we're just BSing about movies. And so it's been something that I look forward to every time I do it. And obviously I'll look forward to helping out more where I can. And I'm happy to see Dom. I'm happy to see that you're much more comfortable in front of the camera than you used to be, and you've gotten better, and you upgraded your camera, and you take the baby steps, and then over time, you'll look back in 10 years, and we'll laugh at the quality of this podcast, because we'll be on a movie set somewhere, obviously.
Honestly,
Like,
right.
we'll have like $100 million budget.
For
I
sure.
hope so.
We'll be writing our own Harry Potter movies. We won't even need
Exactly.
JK. Like,
And I hope so. Yeah, man, thanks for everything you've done here. Obviously, it's been awesome and a huge help to me. And yeah, you make great points. I mean, this is my social life now as well. I mean, most of my friends have just moved away from me, and this has become my social life. It might sound sad, but I'm really grateful for it. Like I am. Like I'm genuinely am grateful to have the wonderful people that come on here every week and talk. But yeah, it's just, again, it's gonna get better. But yeah, Sammy, I know you came into the game here later, but I mean, is there anything you want to say about it? I mean, I'll let you go.
I mean, I'm just incredibly thankful and very grateful every single day that I get to do this, because again, it's so much fun. I have a great time doing it. I would be doing this anyway, so to be able to actually not be screaming into the void, to actually have an outlet, it's been incredible for me. And yeah, just very thankful every day for this show, and can't wait for the new iteration. We have some exciting stuff, so I'm just looking forward to the future right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So again, guys, next week, there's not going to be any content on the channel, being uploaded to the channel. But the week after, we will start Monday, with, Sammy. She will be hosting her brand new show, Movie Night. Sammy, what can people expect from that? I know we need to talk about it a little more, but
Yes.
what can people expect so far?
It's kind of gonna be like this show, this current one, where it's gonna be movie spoiler reviews of movies, movie reviews, full spoilers, full in-depth discussions, going deep into. We're gonna be doing all of the big new releases, and hopefully try to get some classics in there as well. And
Nacho Libre.
honestly, I would love to do Nacho Libre. I would do Nacho Libre for sure.
I'm trying to convince
put it
my
on the
sister to
list.
get a Nacho Libre tattoo with me, by the way.
Well, okay, if we
great.
do it, you have to come on then. That's the deal.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yep.
We're doing Nacho Libre. I love that movie, honestly. So yeah, so Nacho Libre and more you can look forward to on movie night, Monday nights.
Awesome. I'm so excited to start it up. I mean, I think it's going to be a really, really fun time. So for myself, I mean, you'll find me here. I mean, I'll be on movie night with Sammy. And then, I mean, I'll be on everything, so far. I'll be making Dom's Corner shorts. Sammy and I are talking about doing some editorials for the channel, maybe later on down the line as well. So that should be fun. And also, I mean, for me, you could, for the most part, it's going to be Anorax Entertainment Podcast, which is the new iteration of what Dom's Corner was essentially on Tuesdays, which is the, kind of movie news drop, freeform kind of talk show. I mean, it's the thing that I'm most passionate about on the channel, so I'm definitely looking forward to doing that, and that'll start up on Wednesday of next week. So not next week, the week after. So anyway, guys, either way, I appreciate everybody being here, and this has been a great time. Thank you for joining. And Adam, before we go, one last time, where can the people find you?
Yeah, hit me up at the Red Eclectic, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all of the things.
And Sammy, before we go, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. It's at Sammy Ramirez 14, and then also on Twitter and Stereo, also at Sammy Ramirez. So yeah, come find me over there.
Awesome. Yeah, so Anorax has started up a TikTok. Make sure you go follow us over there at Anorax. And also
You made me laugh out loud on a couple of those.
I'm glad.
I know, they're funny.
I didn't expect them.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been creating them mostly, so I do appreciate that support. And then over on on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow the Anorax Entertainment pages there, Anorax at Anorax Official across both platforms. on Twitter at Dom_Martino official, or just underscore, and then on Instagram. One last time, here we go. I'm fucking it up. I should probably change those by the time we get to 2 weeks from now. Instagram Dom_Martino_ official, and then Twitter Dom_Martino_. That's it. Anyway,
don't forget the underscores, everybody.
Yeah, don't forget the underscore.
Yeah, you really won't find me if you don't put them there. I've tried to search myself, and unless I put those underscores in, they don't know what I'm doing. Either way,
I'm gonna hack your account and change your username to underscore.
Might as well. Anyway, so yeah, and then stereo. You can follow me at Dom Martino, just Dom Martino on that one, and then you can follow Sammy at Sammy Ramirez 14. Make sure you follow us both there. We've been doing shows every week, so been a really great time, been a really great way to connect with you guys on a deeper level. Guys, this has been an amazing journey. Thank you to everybody once again who's ever been on the Dom's Corner podcast. I'm excited. I'm sad to end it, but I'm excited to end it to move on to hopefully greener pastures. So that should be a really great time coming up 2 weeks from now. But before we go, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, and hit that bell for notifications. And I'll leave you with this. All is well. Well.
Well.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Later.